From Superman Legacy to the announcement of the Swamp Thing movie, James Gunn has wasted no time in revealing tons of exciting projects for the DCU, and he also happened to unveil a name for the upcoming phase. Gunn is referring to this slate of movies as his Chapter 1, so he's clearly trying to move away from the phase terminology that's unique to the MCU, probably because he wants to differentiate his own cinematic universe in whatever way he can. He's even given this chapter of the rebooted universe its very own name, which happens to be Gods and Monsters. DC fans might recognize the term, because it was also the name of the Justice League animated film released back in 2015. But while the animated movie focused on an alternate universe, it looks like James Gunn's Chapter 1 will be all about setting up the specific universe we'll be immersed in for the time being. He's pulling out all the stops by packing as much content in the first chapter as he can, which will include animated shows and one-off films, along with epic tentpole flicks that will focus on the most popular characters from the DC canon. We already know that Gunn will be kicking off the next phase with Superman Legacy, but there are still some questions that us fans might need answers for, like why couldn't they just bring back Henry Cavill? It's not like the guy didn't own the part, representing everything that we associate with the Man of Steel and more.
And I'm gonna stop you.
What's more, Henry Cavill actually appeared as Superman in Black Adam, and I'm probably not the only one that assumed this meant he'd be back for more. So the announcement that the DCU will be proceeding without Cavill gave me some serious whiplash, which I'm sure a lot of you can relate to, cause the thing is, Cavill was probably the best part about the original DCU. He was miles ahead of Batfleck at any rate, which isn't saying much, but it's still a testament to how crucial he was. For a second there, I thought that we'd no longer see any of our favorites from the first phase, but it turns out that Viola Davis will still keep playing Amanda Waller, and Jason Momoa will be coming back for at least one more Aquaman film as well, with Zachary Levi also apparently getting to keep the role of Shazam. But Gunn has spoken out about this. He's said that Cavill's Superman just didn't fit the creative vision he had for the rebooted universe, which isn't exactly the answer we were hoping for, but it'll just have to do for now, cause there's just too much mystery about the future of the DCU to focus on just this one thing, such as the upcoming series set on Themyscira. In case you're not a hardcore DCU fan, Themyscira is the homeland of Wonder Woman, and it's populated by a race of superpowered women called the Amazons. James Gunn has seen the potential in the setting, so he's making a whole new series about it. And from the looks of things, the show will have a serious Game of Thrones vibe to it, which doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but it kinda means that Gunn and his team have their work cut out for them, cause you can't just make another Game of Thrones knockoff. We've already gotten plenty of those. So if they want to justify this show as more than just a cash grab, we'll need a few more details about its plot. From the announcements we've seen so far, Wonder Woman's mother will be a main character, but what about Diana herself? Will she have a role to play in the show? And if she does, would that mean we'll be seeing Gal Gadot again? There's also a chance that Gunn will use this show to introduce a new Wonder Woman. Clearly, there's a lot to discuss here, but we're strapped for time, so let's move on for now. Cause Gal Gadot isn't the only actor that fans are wondering about. Will Harley Quinn get recast? This is a huge question, cause Margot Robbie gave us the first big screen portrayal of the Joker's crazy sidekick, and she managed to give her a distinct identity as well, which has breathed new life into the character and turned her into more than just a cult favorite. So it's hard to imagine anyone else in the role, but at the same time, Margot Robbie is part of the old DCU, and bringing her back might be a tough sell, especially since we're supposed to do without Henry Cavill, and Robbie's Harley actually interacted with Batman in the original Marvel Suicide Squad, so Gunn and his crew will need to think long and hard about what they want to do here. Whatever they decide, it'll have to be worth it for the fans, because pretty much all of us are sick and tired of the unfocused approach of the old DCU, and a hasty recasting might make it seem like we're gonna have to suffer through that all over again. I have a feeling that Gunn is trying not to think about that right now, because there's an even bigger casting question on the horizon, and he's gonna have to make a fundamental decision before things even get to that point. We need to know who the final boss of Chapter 1 is gonna be, because Gunn has made it pretty clear that Chapter 1 will be a lot like Phase 1 of the MCU, at least when it comes to the overall structure, which makes it almost certain that Darkseid's not gonna come into play anytime soon. He's the kind of bad guy that you don't see for a while, so much so that MCU villains like Thanos were practically modeled after him. Remember, DC Comics practically invented the whole universe-ending supervillain trope, and while Marvel Comics brought some new stuff to the table, it's hard to deny that they've taken inspiration from DC villains like Darkseid. So my money's on the Lord of Apocalypse staying out of the picture, at least in the first chapter.
People from all over the world who travel here because they love these movies, they love comics, and to be able to share this with them before anyone else is a special moment for me.
Gunn will want to go for someone that can pose a threat without being too difficult to overcome, and there are quite a few DC villains that come to mind, like Ra's al Ghul, for example. He has a globe-spanning organization of assassins and mercenaries, after all. Other villains like Brainiac could also work well, and I'm hoping that this question gets answered after a couple of films. It'll just help to give Chapter 1 a bit more direction, which brings me to my final question about Gunn's DCU, and it might just be the biggest question of all. Where is all of this going? I mean, I'm not complaining. I'll take whatever I can get as long as it has Batman, Superman, or really any other DC superhero in it. Maybe James Gunn could even pull a movie about the question from his sack of presents. But one thing's for sure, everything Gunn does will have to be cohesive, which makes me wonder, what exactly is he trying to do here? Is he trying to set up a multi-phase arc that will end with a supreme baddie like Darkseid? If so, will he be able to make him different enough from Thanos for us to care? Or maybe he'll decide to do something completely out of left field. The guy is known for making funny superhero movies after all, which hasn't exactly been the DCU's MO so far. I'm happy about one thing at least, which is that all of our questions are gonna get answered pretty soon. I'm just hoping that they're the sort of answers we'll actually enjoy. Those were some of the biggest questions fans have after James Gunn's announcement. See you in the next video.